Hello and welcome back to Healthwise. With us is Dr. Craig Green. And as I said before earlier, we're going to talk about a new diet he has brought to Opelousas called Ideal Diet. Doc, what is that? And tell us about it.
Reg, let me back up a little bit and tell you that America is a blessed country. Okay? We're number one in many, many categories. You know, we're the wealthiest nation in the world. And one of the things that wealth has bought us is unlimited food supply. Well, we also lead the world in another thing. It's called obesity. And obesity is not a category we really want to lead the world in because it leads to a lot of health problems. And there's a diet program that was developed in Europe 28 years ago, and it was developed by the French for their Olympic athletes. Interesting that the Olympic athletes took the off-season off, and when they did, typical human nature, we just kind of slack off a little bit, celebrate a little bit, and consume some of the wrong things and don't get enough exercise, and sure enough, it turns into that fluffy stuff some people call fat. And the fat is something that the Olympic athletes didn't want too much of because it's extra baggage. It slows me down. It makes me not perform at my peak efficiency. So with this diet program, what they want to do was lose the fat as soon as possible and do not lose the what?
Muscle.
Muscle. Oh no, losing muscle is a bad thing. I feel weak and tired and slow and lazy if I lose my muscle. So this program is developed so it gives you enough protein 4 times a day. And it's interesting that the only thing we have that satisfies our hunger is protein. So by satisfying my hunger with the protein, I'm not hungry, and it decreases the carbohydrates and the calories. So I lose weight faster than any other diet program that we know. Okay. And typically, and it's interesting that when you watch some of the weight loss advertising, it says, oh, I lost 40 pounds, I lost 100 pounds, and it says these results are not typical. But on this diet, typical results, women lose 3 to 5 pounds a week, and men lose 4 to 7 pounds a week. And wow. You can multiply that out by however number of weeks you want to get to your weight loss. And that's what you would expect, and that's what you get staying on the program. And it's a 4-phase program. So at the beginning, you go with 3 of the supplements for a day until you hit 90% of your weight loss. And then you step down and you only do 2, and then until you get to 100% of your weight loss. And you step down and do 1, and then you're on your own. And typically what happens, human nature and all, is in the wintertime, say, I might put on a few, because I feel more comfortable if I've eating gumbo and some of the other things that help put it back on. Sure. So maybe late January, mid-February, you come on back and you just do a tune-up. You know, maybe in a week you just lose all your weight back again, and you're back to where you need to be. And you know, just year by year, you stay at your ideal weight.
And it's the supplements. I take it from what you said is protein-based supplements.
Yeah.
So it kind of fools you, like you said. It's not really fooling because that's what your body uses, but it makes you not crave.
And
eat.
And one of the things that happens with when I take in carbohydrates, my body responds by increasing my insulin because it's trying to take that sugar out of my bloodstream and put it somewhere. So it moves that carbohydrate in the form of sugars into my bloodstream. If I don't burn it as energy, it stores it as fat. Shucks, didn't want to store it, but it does. And what our body is made for is the feast and famine mode. And we do the feast pretty well.
Right.
We don't get around to the famine very often.
No, not here.
And no, not here and not hardly anywhere. And we have access to food, and we just keep on eating. And we can talk a little bit more about that. I know we got a break coming up in a couple minutes.
We got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
But, well, let me ask you this. We were talking about, you said feast or famine. I know other diet supplements, or not diet supplements, but dieting. The reason why it doesn't work a lot of times is because when you diet, your body goes into that famine mode. which basically you storing fat again.
And you're slowing down your metabolism so that you're trying to decrease your energy output. Another thing that happens on other diets is they don't give you the protein because of that thing called the food pyramid. And the food pyramid was developed back in the Depression era, and that one, we didn't have much food. So the thing that we did have access to were the cheap foods,
right.
the carbohydrates. If you remember the potato famine,
right.
that's where they survived on carbohydrates. And on the food pyramid, it's a little top piece up here is protein, and then the next bar across is fats, and you eat more fat than you do protein, and you eat a lot more carbohydrates. Well, those carbohydrates are changed to energy or stored as fat. And that's where we get into a problem. Another thing that happens is my body, your body, our bodies are geared up to burn glucose first, sugars out of my bloodstream. Sure. When I use all of that, it turns over to where I stored my sugar, and that's glycogen. And I have about 2 or 3 days worth of glycogen stored. So I don't have to eat as often as I think I have to eat.
Right.
Because I'm doing good for 2 or 3 days. And then after I run out of glucose and glycogen, then it's going to go over and try burning my muscle and my fat. And like you were talking about, if I'm starving, it's going to want to decrease my muscle. So it's going to burn my muscle so I don't have to use as much energy so I can save my fat. It's all about saving fat. And that's not what we like.
Unless we're eating it.
Unless we're talking about cracklings.
Right, cracklings and stuff like that. Now, when we get back, after we take this break for our sponsors, we'll talk a little bit about, I don't know what part during your program, what exercise plays a part in it. I'm sure you know
yes.
that. Okay, so after this brief break for our sponsors, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about the ideal diet.